Okay, so we have this huge pile of spices in a little cupboard. It's taking up loads of space, and I would like to get them on that wall there, maybe, and get that cupboard back. We also have this blind that came down. It's a bit destroyed, and I was thinking maybe these little slats might make a reasonable front for a set of shelves, and a little bottom one here and side on here. So I'm gonna have a go at that, see how it works out. Before I ran out and bought a load of new wood, I thought it might be a good idea to see how much space these were going to take up on the wall, and looking at this I'm wondering if maybe it might be a little easier to build one not so wide unit. Maybe we could take with us if we moved, rather than one really wide one. And maybe if it's a bit narrower, I won't need to support the slats from the blind in the middle either. Might make it quite tall. Yeah, I could live with that. Anyway, let's go and move forward. I think these ones are about the largest size I'm going to want to stick on this shelf. I think I'm going to take one of these with me and see if I can find a bit of wood that sort of matches the right size.
So I popped to the shops and got these pine planks. They're about 2.5 meters long, about 3 inches wide. They're just about the right size to fit a spice pot on, and leave a little bit of space for the blind slat to hold the spice pots on the rack. I really just eyeballed picking these particular planks. They seemed about the right size, and I reckoned in the shop I could get about 5 or 6 shelves out of one piece. Here's the 2 sides I ended up with after cutting a plank more or less in half. I've left 18 centimeters per gap for spices, and these boards are about 19 mil thick, and here I've marked out where I'm going to cut out sections to fit the boards in. I did these cuts with a tenon saw. It's a little bit tricky, but you do eventually get there. It's actually considerably harder than I imagine it would be with a proper table saw and a dado cutter, but I've only got manual tools, so we have to make do with what we've got.
Okay, I just had a quick go at taking out these cores with this chisel, and unfortunately this is very slightly too big, and I don't want to risk splitting the wood down this way unnecessarily, so gotta go and buy a new chisel. Okay, back with a new chisel. This looks like about size. See if we can clean this up a bit now.
This is my first go at cutting out one of these joints with a chisel. I've really no idea, other than the marks I've made at either end, how deep to take them. It's difficult to know if you're taking out too much wood as you're going along. Again, as with much of this project, I've just sort of eyeballed it, and this one turned out alright. Some of them were a little bit harder. This one with a knot I just had to keep hitting at until eventually got all the way through it, but the majority of them just popped out pretty cleanly. So this is a proper milestone in the project. I've cut all these joints out, and this is my first fit of the shelves, just to test how it comes together, and really they were alright, which I think is more luck than skill. And now I'm going to have a look and see the best way to fit the blind slats into these little shelves we've made at the front. I decided the best way to do this would be to drill out a section and chisel out the gap between them, and then try and slide the slats between the two shelves so that they were recessed very slightly from the front. This is actually a fair bit trickier than I expected it to be, and I made quite a mess of some of these holes, and actually halfway through the project I realised that I'd done half of the side the wrong way around, so I had to go back and redo all those holes again. But after correcting that mistake, it was a quick job to chop the slats down to size and then test fit them into the whole unit, and lo and behold, it actually worked out alright. It was at this point that I actually started thinking about how I was going to put this unit on the wall, and it occurred to me that given that some of these spices are quite strongly coloured, I didn't want to stain the white wall, and that I should probably find a back for this. So I popped back to the shops again and got some fiberboard for the back and some brass fixings to hang it from.
Okay, and there it is. Made quite a lot of mistakes making this. There's a few additional holes that I hadn't planned for, and there's a few more marks in the wood than I'd like, and some of the spacing at the ends of these isn't quite what I'd like it to be. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Let's try with some spices in. Of course, it's not quite big enough for all the spices, but it's a lot of them. It's most of the spices. And hell, it looks cool.
So now I'm at the standing back and admiring stage, and I realise the bottom section isn't really being used for anything. I thought the overhang would look right, but now that I'm using the top overhang as another little shelf, it occurred to me that maybe I should do something with the bottom overhang. And I remember that the blinds have a dowel attached to them for adjusting the angle of the slats, and that maybe that would be cool to hang tea towels from. So I quickly drilled 2 holes either side with a 12mm spade bit, and then cut my dowel to size, and it pops in the tree. There you have it. Thanks for watching.